So now that we have a way to navigate through our inventory, let's actually set it up. Okay, well, for the most part, the main logic we kind of want to set up. So let's do. Well, we have to decide first if we're going to do the inventory first right away, or do the items, icons, all that. So I guess let's do the inventory that allows us to set up the slots and so on and so on. So for that, I'm just going to create an empty object, which I'm going to add a grid layout group. And inside that, we can add a button, which we can, of course, offset it. It doesn't actually need to be a button. It can be anything else we want. So let's change this a little bit. Let's maybe lower this. And yeah. Now let's make this as child alignment. Let's go with middle left. And let's set the row count to 1. Okay, so this can be our right hand. Let's call this, we have our inventory, let's call this as main panel, something like that. We can call this then right hand slots, and duplicating that, this can be our left hand slots. Okay, let's add them, all of them underneath. So for that, I'm actually going to copy this and add it underneath the main panel, because we're going to have different setups. Okay, we don't need this to be here, and we can just drag and drop this for this one. Then let's take this. It can look something like this, where we have our slots over there. Obviously, we can make this even higher, so let's say 150 and 150. Maybe that's too much, doesn't matter. Okay, so there we have our slots. Now, well, you also need the same thing for your items, but we don't really have that many already, so whatever. And let's call this item slots, and I'm going to copy them and just make this as row count to 2. And this will be our, well, the basic of our inventory. Of course, we can add even more depending on what you are wearing and stuff like that, but for this we can just go with that. So this will be the main panel, and if we duplicate this and then close the first one, and I'm going to delete almost everything, but I'm just going to leave this as a simple main panel, and we can actually have this be called select item row or select item. And for this one, we actually want to have a fixed column count. Let's start with upper center, and let's raise this to about 250, maybe even more. We can go about 300. I think even 500 should be fine, because you will have the icon for the item, and then on the right you will have the info you want to take, and of course this will go on and on forever. The other way to do this will actually be, and yeah, I actually don't remember right now. Yeah, we'll have to look with yeah, come to think of it, I think, okay, we can still use this later, but for now let me just copy this. But I think, yeah, that you will just keep and it will just create items like this instead of uppers and down. Okay, and that is of course all the items that you are carrying. For right now we just only need one. Okay, that will come for later. Let's create the logic that will allow us to actually have some behavior onto our buttons. Now, the other thing that I would like to change is that with the arrows and with the input manager, we're actually using the axis, but I did check with Dark Souls and you actually do not use the axis because you can actually move and rotate the camera at the same time normally as you would as if you were playing. Okay, so we should be using the arrows then, well, on the D-pad, the arrows. So let's do that change. It's not going to be too much of a change really. So to do that we need to find our UI manager in here. Okay, and we have a target direction. The target direction we are getting it from vertical and horizontal, and we need to make, well, if we don't have them already, but we do, so we just need the up, down arrow, left and right arrows here. Okay, so let's see where this update actually, and we don't use them at all. Okay, I think the down arrow should be used though. Okay, none is used then. Awesome. So that narrows it down because we can just come over here and add them. We do have the logic from what I can see. So let's look inside start, and here we are. Yeah, this needs to change entirely because we want to use the D-pad all the time now. So let's add a void over here and we're going to say handle D-pad. Then we're going to say that if left arrow handle switch weapons, set it to true, then left arrow, set it to false. If right arrow handle switch weapons, again set that to false, and then right arrow again set this to false. Then if down arrow drop that here, down arrow then equals false. And we also have the up arrow, which we don't actually use right now. So all we're going to do will be to just say up arrow equals false. So instead of switching this, we're going to be saying left arrow equals true, right arrow equals true, down arrow equals true. Then we have to add the up arrow, which also is going to equals true. Adding this now inside the update, and let's see, we have to add this and we can remove this as well, and same with this because we can move the camera as well. So we're just going to say if not menu is open, handle the D-pad, then inside handle input, and so we'll do this, over here. Then we have our target direction inside our menu is open, and we're going to say if left arrow, actually we should do this differently. We should say if left arrow target direction dot x equals -1. If right arrow target direction dot x equals 1, then if down arrow target direction dot y equals -1, if up arrow target direction dot y equals 1, and delete this. And there we have it. We can move now with our arrows. We should get the inputs. We also need to add the A input and the B input. Let's see the creation of that. Let's see, we have B, we have the X and Y, and we're missing the A button, which I think we do use though. So let's see. Let's take a look from here actually. Button south, I think it's the interact. So we do indeed do something there. But let's see where it is. Let's search for interact. Here it is. Okay, now this will have to, well, we should either do it like this or we should do it with the perform phase. Let's see. Okay, let's try to have some consistency, and we're going to say A input. Okay, then over here, well, actually, where do we have these? Do we use them? We do it like this. Okay, so A input equals get button status keys dot player dot interact dot phase. Then inside our late update, where we handle our interaction, we're going to change this to A input, but only if not the menu is open. Okay, the interaction detection, maybe we can add that over there, doesn't matter as well. So, when we press now, however, the menu, we should be able to tell that you actually selected something, so something is actually happening. The way to do that will be inside the handle input, which is here. Okay, we have our A input, so that means we can pass inside our tick, or either through tick or through the selection. So maybe we can just say public void select option. Okay, and we can just have a status, and we'll write this in a bit. So I'm going to just add UI manager singleton dot select option A input. Now let's go and write our logic over there. So with this, we can make it the same way as with this one, where we just have a flag select option, for example. Okay, so select option equals status, and if there is a case that, actually, I think we can just make this slightly more simple. We could just say set this to true, and when you're back here, we're only going to say if A input is true. So it only runs once. We don't really need to be using all those values. So if group manager is not null, even if target direction is 0, we should still do if select option, then select option equals false. Okay. From our group manager then, we can say that run the logic for your current navigatable. So to do that, we're going to say, that will give you the result. We can just say public void execute selection. Okay, then group manager dot execute selection. Awesome. So, and then we need inside our interface, and let's actually go inside the navigatable. Okay, let's pick definition for this. We want a select. Actually, do we use the select? Yeah, we do use the select, which is going to happen. So let's add another method that will give us on apply, and that will happen when you actually hit press on top of this button. Okay, then we have the navigatable hook somewhere. Let's see. Here it is, where we will now have to implement the interface. And here we are. Now, if we want to have this more dynamic, we could just say, we could be using events, and we can have unity event dot, oh well, on select, what's going to happen on select, what's going to happen on deselect, and what's going to happen on apply. Okay, so yeah, okay, I think we have all of them, although it's not really that much of an importance to do right now, because this works just fine, at least for what we are going to be using now. But I'm going to drop the on apply, and I'm going to invoke it. We can actually just add them in here, and maybe we're not using, and if we are not using them, then it doesn't really matter either. Okay, but this allows me to load a little bit and to do a lot more things now with this. So what I'm going to add right now is I'm going to go onto my UI manager, and I'm going to say, I'm going to keep a navigation button. Well, actually, okay, we don't really need that for now. We could just have a call. We would say public void open select item dialog. Okay, and then a public void which will say open select inventory or inventory. We need references to that, and actually we need a reference to the group manager. So I'm going to make this as a private, and I'm going to rename this to current manager. Okay, then I'm going to have a public navigatable group manager for the inventory manager, and another one for navigatable group manager for the select item manager. So when we open the select item manager, we're going to be saying game object set active to true, inventory manager game object set active to false, and current manager will be the inventory, the select item manager. Copying that, we're going to do almost the same, but the opposite way around. Okay, now inside start or update or whatever, we could just also use open inventory. So it will also open the inventory once we start and assign the current manager. So let's go and set this up. I'm just going to show you the example. I don't think we need to see all of it because it's really simple, really. So on all of them, well, actually, let's go and fix our UI manager first. Okay, I'm going to cut this from here and I'm going to add this in the same position as the game UI, just so that we have uniformity. Then we want to have the main panel for the inventory manager, and the item slots will have their own navigatable group manager. Okay, so actually no, not this, which already does. Okay, so let's move this down here. Now let's go and set this up. Now for all of them, all of these buttons we have over here, for right now I'm just going to go on there on apply, and I'm going to add on the UI manager open select item dialog. Okay, they will all do the same now, right now. Close that. Then on select item, on all of this, I'm going to add on the apply UI manager, and I'm going to just say open inventory. So I think we're ready to test this out. So let's see. Let's hit play. And now when I'm changing the values we see over here, oh, I think we also have an issue because we are not resetting the arrows. So back to the input manager. After you have done all of this, we need to say left arrow equals false, right arrow equals false, down arrow equals false, up arrow equals false. Okay, and although I think this will work fine, we're also going to reset a input to false. Of course, we can encapsulate that and use this someplace else as well. So I can now move, can go anywhere I want. Okay, and I can also select one, and nothing actually happened because we forget to add it. Select options. Select option is true. Inside the tick, no tick. Inside the update, execute selection. Here we are. Current dot on apply. And now we should be good. Okay, of course we only have one right now, and when I click that, I think we opened the wrong one. Let's see, yeah, we opened the wrong one. We actually want this to be closed and this to be open. Okay, and I'm actually just going to, well, let's take a look again. Yeah, okay, we did open the wrong one. So let's just use this 200, 150. And let's make that flexible, something like that. And I'm just going to, make a few more just to make it look apparent what we're doing. So I can go and select one, and I think it selects all of them. So that means we're missing something, which means we are missing the resetting. The select option is false though. So why are we missing that? Select option. So let's go back. Yeah, I think it's coming out from this because this turns true, and probably the phase. It's the started phase. Okay, so we're going to do something else for the input. We're going to go directly on start, and we're going to say keys.player.interact.performed a input equals true. Okay, we might going to have to reset this. Do we have a reset anywhere? Yeah, we don't. So I'm just going to go on late update then. And we're going to say input equals false. The same goes for the other ones really, for the other keys, for the on the D-pad, but yeah, for now it's good, doesn't matter. Let's hit play, and I think that will be it for this part. Okay, you can see we can select, we can go back. We're going to make us be able to update the actual icons later. Okay, for now we just wanted this functionality. And of course, if we close the inventory, it will just be able to play normally back again. And yeah, let's also check what we do with the axes and if they still work. Okay, so you can see that I can play the game normally even if I have my inventory open. Awesome. So yeah, that's it for this part. Don't really need to or want to do anything else on this one. It's pretty precise, and it's all about navigating through different menus, and I'm sure you can see how this will scale normally, especially since we do not have to worry about finding or creating navigation for all the different UI things that we're going to need. So that's it for this part. As always, you know what to do. Like, subscribe, and if you like to see more stuff, more videos, more series, more of everything, then consider supporting me on Patreon so we can keep making all of these nice things we're making. I'll see you next time.